in. I hope you are having a fabulous day. Welcome to Aries Rose TV. And if you are not familiar with me, my name is Aries Rose. And tonight we are continuing the discussion on Shannon Sharpe. So there's more that has come out with this lawsuit that was recently filed by a Jane Doe. So we definitely got to talk about it. If you did not catch the live yesterday, we also talked a little bit about the case as well. So make sure you go back and check those lives. The replay is up. If you're not familiar with me, my name is Aries Rose, and welcome to Aries Rose TV. Here we talk about movies, streaming shows, TV shows, pop culture, celebrity news, world news, politics, basically anything I find interesting. I come on and discuss it here with my Aries crew. And you know the drill. If you are a returning Aries crew member, leave hashtag Aries crew in the comments. I want to give you a shout out for stopping by. If you are a first time watcher, leave first time watcher in the comments. Let me give you a shout out as well for stopping by. And like the video as you come in, it's a free way to support the channel and it goes a long way and means a lot. So we're just going to go ahead and jump right into the story. So a little backstory here. Shannon Sharpe, who's the proprietor of Club Shay Shay, that pretty much blew up on YouTube when he did the interview with Cat Williams in 2024, was hit with a lawsuit recently, and that lawsuit was filed by Tony Busby on behalf of Jane Doe. Lawsuit was filed out in Nevada, and so there are some allegations of SA and allegations of battery as well. Since that lawsuit has come out, there's been audio released, and it's allegedly of Shannon Sharpe having conversations with this Jane Doe. Shannon Sharpe has outed who he believes or knows, I'm not sure which one is the case, to be the Jane Doe that is behind the lawsuit filing. As of right now, she filed as Jane Doe, so her identity hasn't been publicly acknowledged by the plaintiff and or the attorney Tony Busby, but this is whom Shannon Sharpe says that the lawsuit is coming from. And then there's also been text messages that have been exchanged between the two. Some of those have been shared. That's supposed to add some context to the nature of their relationship. I got something in my eye. So those text messages are supposed to add some context to the nature of their relationship. And then Shannon Sharpe released a response on his Instagram to the lawsuit that was filed. And Stephen A. Smith spoke about it on the Stephen A. Smith show that aired on Tuesday. So we got some stuff to catch up with, and we are going to do just that because I am definitely following this story. So we're going to talk about Stephen A. Smith, and I did watch the show on Tuesday, and this reporting that I'm reading is from TMZ. So Stephen A. Smith says ESPN's mulling over Shannon Sharpe's future on First Take. So in addition to his Club Shay Shay on YouTube, it looks like Shannon Sharpe is also on ESPN on First Take, and he also has a podcast with Chad Ochocinco, Nightcap. He may do some other things as well, but those are the ones that I'm aware of. We're going to take a pause here for a moment to do some shout outs in the comments. Bob Nah, how you doing? Thank you so much for being here. Jude the Dude, welcome. Thank you so much for being here. Benjamin Williams, do you think he's guilty? I don't know. I honestly don't know. I went in thinking one way when I heard that Tony Busby had filed the lawsuit. And as more stuff has come out, more alleged audios come out, the age of the plaintiff has come out. I got some questions. I have some questions about what was going on here, but we're going to get into that. And then we got Night Fox. Hello. Thank you so much for being here. Welcome. If you can do me a favor, if you have not already done so, if you could like the video, definitely appreciate you. It goes a long way. It's a free way to support the channel. And then we're going to jump back into the story. So this bombshell lawsuit has caught the attention of head honchos over at ESPN. On the Stephen A. Smith show this past Tuesday, he stated that he spoke to Jimmy Pitaro, and he told him, and I believe this is kind of one of the top people over at ESPN, who told him, we are, quote, we are taking this matter very seriously. We are looking into this very, very closely. And once we gather as many facts as possible, as possibly can. We will go from there, end quote. So it looks like it's definitely something that ESPN is monitoring and keeping an eye on. I don't know whether or not that may affect Shannon Sharpe's position there. And Stephen A. Smith kind of had a response on that. He said that he had no idea what that means for Sharpe. And he told his followers that he was hopeful that Shannon wouldn't be taken off the air while the case plays out. He said, quote, "I'm wishing that he's innocent, all this stuff goes away, and he can continue to thrive with me on ESPN," end quote. But he also seemed to think there was a possibility it could go down that way as well. You never really hear too much about anything that Shannon Sharpe has going on. So this is one of the most controversial public stories that I've definitely heard from him in his whole public career, other than the time he accidentally went live on Instagram Live in the summer of 2024. So at least publicly, he doesn't seem to have a history of having these types of allegations or situations go on with him. But that also is what makes it more explosive when you don't hear about this stuff from a person and then somebody comes out saying that these types of things took place between the two of you. That's definitely going to catch the public's attention. I don't know if the timing is curious or not, but it was discussed that he was possibly going to be doing $100 million deal for a podcast. And then next thing you know, there's a lawsuit that's filed for $50 million. So I don't know if it's a coincidence or not, but it appears this one may have to play out in courts to determine guilt or not. So it looks like Sharpe had joined Stephen A. Smith on First Take back in 2023. So a couple years, it looks like he's been on the show after Smith recruited him to the network in February of 2024. He signed an extension to remain alongside Smith on the program. It looks like Shannon was on the show on both Monday and Tuesday. I'm not sure if he was on the show today, but he was on the show Monday and Tuesday, despite Jane Doe filing a lawsuit on Sunday. And Sharpe and his legal team have been adamant he committed no wrongdoings and believes that Doe's suit is nothing more than a shakedown. ESPN has not made an official public comment on the allegations. So, we'll see what comes from it. So, since he has gone on and done his response, the age of the plaintiff is known. So allegedly she was 19 years old at the time that he had initially met her in a gym in 2023. And Shannon was in his mid 50s. So, I mean, let's just talk about that for a second here. A person in their mid 50s going up to approaching or wanting the phone number of a 19-year-old. Now, from the photos I've seen, if this person is the actual person who filed the lawsuit, they look young. There's not a question of they may be young, but they looked older than they were. It gives young. It definitely gives young. And I'm just trying to understand what you may have in common at your, 55, 56 with a 19-year-old. And from the audio that I heard, she sounds every bit of a child. Just very, very teenage voice to me. And so obvious that it would be hard for me to take it seriously, like as if you were an adult. So when I'm listening to the conversation that's allegedly Shannon Sharpe, and we do not know if it's him or not, but if it is, it's a little bit concerning because it's clearly somebody who's in a totally different age group, doesn't even grasp when he says it is what it is. She asked, what does that even mean? So that was something that she didn't even understand. And it just struck me in that moment when I'm hearing her voice, like, kind of what was the thought process? Is it just because she's young? I'm not, 100% sure beyond that what you could be talking about or have a lot in common. I mean, she wasn't even around for most of your life to know the same kind of music, understand the context of what life was at that time. So what are you really talking about? What are you vibing on? And I just that really has me stuck on that for a person of his age and his stature, I would have expected something a little bit different because it seems like he tries to be pretty careful in the decisions that he makes and pretty thoughtful and crafted about the public image that he puts out there. And this just seems like somewhere where that didn't seem to be taking a whole lot of thought in the forefront before some decisions were made. I have to tell you, if a 56-year-old came to my home to try to court my 19-year-old daughters, you got to go. That's not happening over here, not at all. Not at all, because to me, there's just something wrong with that. Where I'm gonna have some questions. Why are you coming for a 19-year-old? You're on this spectrum of life. What are you coming over here for? They have a whole lot more years that they need to live before they get into something more serious. And generally, the older you are, you're looking for something more serious. So that just the timing, because there's experiences you have not had by 18, 19. You don't know anything about life, even though you believe you do. Because legally you're considered adult, so in your mind you think you know everything, but in reality you don't. You just have a lot of experiences you don't have until you get older or reach certain ages, and that just comes with time. So to me, that raised my eyebrows. I really have some questions on why Shannon would do that. And I've seen clips of a previous interview that he did with Monique on his show where she was telling him he don't need no young gal, he needs an older gal. And those clips are resurfacing in light of this lawsuit. And I'm just wondering if he's hearing that message in a different light now, given everything that's gone on, because this could really mess up his public reputation and could, have some negative impacts on him for sure. Want these kind of allegations on you, especially when you're trying to be out as a front face of your brand and different things. You don't want that kind of stuff associated with you, because that could have an impact on your ability to make money or people wanting to continue to work with you and what opportunities are available to you. So while I believe it should play out in court, it's definitely interesting, the decisions that are being made, like the text messages that have been released between the two, definitely explicit language, stuff that's just blowing my mind that would even be sent between the two. And again, when I think about their age difference, I just see it in a whole other context, and it bothers me. Um, I would like to see something different for him, and it's just too bad that it's going this direction, and I don't know what went on between the two or not, but we're following the story as new information's come out. And it looks like Tony Busby has released a new audio in which you can hear the ESPN commentator Shannon Sharpe threatening to choke the woman in public. But Shannon's saying it's not what it sounds like. Attorney Busby dropped the file this morning, Wednesday morning, and issued a statement saying Sharpe's attacks on him and his client Jane Doe were a big stupid mistake. Busby goes on to say the audio provides a fair picture of the relationship shortly before the alleged assault. In this case, when the recording was made, is not known at this time. So I did hear that audio clip that was released today, where he was saying that he would choke her, and he would choke her in public. And he's like, I want to say he said like a big black man choking a white woman, something to that effect. Again, just things I'm really surprised to hear coming out of Shannon's mouth. And I'm just thinking, did he not know her age? Did he not realize that he needed to be more careful in what he was doing, what he was saying? I'm just not 100% sure here why this particular situation, it seems like he didn't have his guard up, at least in my opinion. But let me know yours. Do you think he kind of made himself vulnerable to this type of situation happening to him? Let's take a pause for a comment. We got Voice of the Day saying hello. If you are on the live, thank you so much. And Benjamin Williams says he doesn't strike me as someone who would do anything he's being accused of. And, I